going on, Captain Bill?
Dan, well, we've just completed our test of these two Cox outboards here.
It's certainly a day of firsts, huh?
Yeah.
Now, I know this is a test we were both looking forward to for quite some time, since these engines debuted at last year's Lauderdale show. We've been excited for this for a lot of reasons, but we've been discussing the possible benefits of the diesel outboards. What are a couple that jump off at you?
Well, probably one of the biggest ones is that you can have a tender on a mega yacht and use diesel fuel. You don't have to have a separate fuel on the vessel.
Right.
Pretty much the same thing for military vessels, so that's good. You also get more torque. Diesels are famous for torque, and that manifests, I think, in efficiency. We got pretty good mid-range, especially.
What kind of numbers were you saying?
About 3,000 RPM. We're burning about 17 gallons an hour.
Okay.
For about 1.8 miles per gallon, which is really good, I'd say, for an outboard powered boat. In a 14,000 pound boat.
Right. No, I think that's true, but you know, Bill, I think with this one, data only tells part of the story. Give me a sense of what the feeling like was at the helm, what it sounded like, what it smelled like.
Well, I was wondering, would this smell like a diesel? Didn't. It doesn't.
I think that's going to disappoint some people.
Yeah, but I never caught a whiff. And at the helm, this boat performed pretty much like a gasoline-powered boat.
Right.
I don't know that I would have known I was driving a diesel-powered boat, other than when you turn this boat in a hard overturn, it doesn't. I couldn't detect, and the instrumentation. This is a prototype boat. The instrumentation is a little imprecise, so I couldn't really tell if the RPMs were dropping or not, but my ear told me that when I turned a hard overturn, I was not losing any RPM at all. I think because of that torque situation.
Right, and about the sound, we were noticing that it certainly isn't the quietest outboard on there on the market, because let's be honest, some of these newer engines are getting whisper quiet these days. But really, it was pretty competitive, and it had kind of a nice deep pitch to it. It didn't have any of that whine we've heard on other outboards.
Yeah, even when the turbos kicked in.
Right.
Yeah, and I thought it's comparatively noisy at the low RPM. In the upper register, I don't think there's much difference at all. No,
that's a good point.
Yeah, pretty quiet.
Now, anytime you have a new propulsion package that's this radical and this different, there's going to be some doubters out there. So. For the sake of our readers, what might some possible downsides be? Well,
the biggie, of course, is cost. What they're telling us is that this particular engine is going to cost $50,000.
Right.
That's significantly more than what you pay for a gasoline-powered outboard of the same horsepower.
Right.
Then the weight issue. And I was concerned about that myself. I was afraid when we took it out in the river, St. Johns River, we were going to have a bow-high situation because of all this weight. We got extra 400 pounds back here versus gasoline outboards.
Right.
But did not notice that. At wide open throttle, or 3,600 RPM, which the engines are governed at the present time because they're prototype engines, we were getting 2 degrees, which is optimum for a planing boat.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious, because that was a good point. I had the same concern. I wonder what it would be like if we were on a lighter boat, maybe a rib.
That's a good point.
Instead of a 14,000 pound Intrepid.
Yeah.
But no, I would say, you know, if we were blindfolded at the helm, which is never a good way to drive.
No.
You wouldn't think there was any difference.
No.
Bill, one of the things that was concerning me a little bit was, especially at the onset, was the ability to get these engines serviced. If you were an early adopter, but kind of we learned today that, you know, Cox really already has a pretty good distribution network kind of around the country, and that those guys are being trained up to be able to offer the service.
Yeah, Ring Power will train all the technicians that service this engine. They'll train them at their facility in St. Augustine, and it sounds like quite a facility. It sounds like they're going to do it right, and then those guys, or those people, will go out all over North America. And but you know, ultimately, I think there's probably going to be a learning curve. I mean, there's no way out of that.
Right, and I think it'll take a little bit of time. I mean, it's not going to be comparable to the service you can get, say, from Mercury or Suzuki, but they seem to be taking the right steps towards that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Well, Bill, I know with a story like this, it can kind of be complex. I know you're gonna have to go back, and we need you to do a lot of number crunching. So you want to stay tuned to an upcoming issue of Power Motoryacht or Outboard Magazine for Captain Bill's full report.
Yeah, but why don't we get lunch?
You need a lunch break?
Yeah, I mean, geez, Dan.
Come on. All right. Let's go get some lunch.
I think they said something about a really nice barbecue
You
place.
always find the good barbecue spots.